Under the setting sun, a village that once thrived in peace now trembles with doubt. The sacred beads, long believed to hold the village's connection to the ancestors, have disappeared. Whispers of betrayal and fear spread like wildfire. The community is uneasy, the sacred relic gone, leaving a hollow that seems to gnaw at the heart of Balozi. The young hunter stands, accused. The elder's eyes narrow, voices rise, and fingers point in his direction. His reputation is shattered, and the weight of the accusations presses heavily on him. He stands alone, the fear and betrayal stinging deeper than any arrow he has ever faced. The villagers, once his kin, now see him as the thief who has broken the trust of the ancestors. In the quiet shadows of the village, Mosi, the chief's daughter and Sefu's closest ally, approaches him. Her words hang heavy in the air. "Did you take them, Sefu?" Her eyes search his face, seeking the truth between them. The question cuts through the tension like a spear, testing their bond amidst the chaos. Can she believe him? Or has the darkness of doubt clouded even their friendship? The elders gather, their voices low but filled with dread. Restless spirits, they say, stir in the night, angry at the theft of what belongs to them. The beads are not just a symbol, they are a binding force between the living and the dead. If they are not returned, the wrath of the spirits will consume them all. The weight of their words hangs in the air, casting a shadow over the village as fear takes root in every heart. With his name stained and his future uncertain, Sefu swears on his ancestors' bones to find the beads and return them to their rightful place. His oath burns like fire in his chest. The village may have turned against him, but he will not let the sacred power remain in the hands of those who would use it for evil. With each step he takes, the promise of redemption drives him forward. There will be no turning back. Mosi warns him, her voice trembling with urgency. There's more than just the beads at stake. Someone new is in Balozi, a dark power. Her gaze sharpens, pointing to a shadow in the distance, someone who hides their intentions behind a mask of friendship. The beads were only the beginning. Sefu now faces a threat far more dangerous than mere theft. The thief may be a puppet, but the hand pulling the strings is far more treacherous. With his village's trust lost and his life hanging by a thread, Sefu realizes this journey will be no simple task of recovery. The beads are only a part of the mystery. The greater test lies in uncovering the hidden truths of his people. The path ahead is one of pain, of learning what it truly means to fight for the future while facing the shadows of the past. He will have to confront not just the thief, but the deeper, darker secrets of his own heart. Raised under the watchful eye of his father, Sefu grew up learning the ways of the land, the patterns of the beasts, the rhythms of the seasons, and the wisdom passed down through generations. His father's stories shaped him, teachings rooted in tradition and respect for the land. The young hunter had always been connected to his people's past, their hopes and their struggles. But now, that bond is about to be tested in ways he never imagined. The beads, once held with reverence, were a symbol of unity, the first gift from the ancestors. They were more than mere ornamentation. They were the village's heart, its connection to the spiritual world, its very lifeblood. Without them, the village would falter. The beads were said to grant protection, prosperity, and guidance. When they vanish, it is as if the spirit of the village has been stolen, leaving it vulnerable to forces unseen. After a successful hunt, Sefu and his father return to find the village in chaos. The beads are gone. The elders stand in a circle, their eyes clouded with disbelief, their murmurs growing louder as the news spreads. An impossible crime has been committed and trust begins to erode. Who could do such a thing? Who would betray the village and desecrate their ancestors' gift? The weight of the unknown presses down on them, and the night feels darker than it ever has before. The village elders gather to deliberate, but the words of old man Akili pierce the air like a spear. "We are doomed," he says, his voice trembling, with age and wisdom. His prophecy, though cryptic, is clear. The beads must be found, or the village will face ruin. His eyes stare into the distance, as if seeing something beyond this world. The village's spiritual foundation is crumbling, and without the beads, the community faces a reckoning beyond their comprehension. The whispers begin. The village's gaze shifts from confusion to suspicion and then to accusation. Sefu stands alone as the village turns its eyes upon him. His name, once held with pride, is now spoken with doubt. He is a hunter, a son of the land, yet they ask, could he be the thief? His past is clean, his loyalty unquestionable, but fear knows no logic. Mosi stands by his side, her silence louder than words, but even her gaze, once filled with unwavering trust, now carries the weight of doubt. In the quiet of his home, Sefu remembers his mother's voice, the warnings she always shared with him. The beads hold more than power, my son. They carry the balance of the world. Her words, long buried, rise to the surface. As the beads vanish, Sefu realizes there may be consequences far deeper than he understood. This theft is not just about the beads. It's about upsetting the very spirits that watch over them, a spiritual imbalance that could destroy them all. The village is a shadow of its former self. The marketplace, once alive with voices and movement, is now silent. The air is thick with tension, each footstep echoing louder than it should. The villagers carry out their duties, but their eyes are fixed on Sefu. The weight of their gaze is unbearable. They whisper when he passes, their suspicions hanging like an unspoken curse. Sefu feels the village holding its breath, waiting for the truth to emerge, but not knowing which truth it is they desire. Desperate and lost, Sefu makes his way to the sacred grove, the place where his ancestors rest, where the spirits are said to whisper their secrets. He kneels in the dirt, hands pressed against the earth, his heart heavy with the weight of the village's expectations and his own fear. Ancestors, guide me, he whispers into the wind, his voice raw. The grove is still, silent, yet he feels the presence of something greater, something ancient. The beads must be found, but what cost will it demand? As Sefu prays, the wind shifts. The air feels colder, as if something unseen has entered the grove. A voice, a whisper, carries on the breeze. It is his father's voice, clear and strong, though he has been gone for years. Remember who you are, my son, it says. The past never truly leaves. The voice is a reminder of the bond between them, of the legacy his father left behind. But it is also a warning, for the path ahead will not only test his courage, it will test his understanding of the past. Sefu rises, his resolve hardened. He must face the darkness, not just for the beads, but for the future of his people. As Sefu kneels, his hands pressed against the earth, praying for guidance, the air grows heavier. He feels a shift, a presence behind him, unnatural, unsettling. He rises, heart pounding in his chest, turning slowly. Out of the shadows steps a cloaked figure, their face hidden beneath layers of dark fabric. The beads hang in their hands, glowing faintly. The figure speaks without hesitation, their voice carrying the weight of an ancient secret. The beads are mine now, and they may never return to you. The figure's words hang in the air like a warning. You think the beads are the village's lifeblood, they continue, their voice low and almost mocking. But some things are meant to be lost, never to be found again. Perhaps the village is better off without them. Sefu's fists clench, the weight of his fear mixing with a growing defiance. Tell me who you are. Why have you taken them? The figure does not answer. They only tilt their heads slightly, eyes glinting under the cloak. The beads are but a symbol, a piece of a puzzle you are not ready to understand. Sefu steps forward, his heart racing with the urge to fight. I will not leave until I know the truth, he declares, his voice steady but tense. Tell me why you do this. Who are you? The figure stands motionless for a long moment, their silence stretching out like the distance between them. Then, slowly, they lift their hand, revealing a scarred palm. You think your village's story is the only one that matters. You think your ancestors are the only ones who have power? Sefu's chest tightens, confusion and anger churning inside him. What are you talking about? The figure's hand reaches for their hood, pulling it back with deliberate slowness. Sefu's breath catches in his throat. The face revealed is pale, gaunt, with glowing eyes that pierce through him like a burning flame. There is something eerily familiar in their gaze, something from the past he cannot place. The figure smirks, as though reading his mind. You don't recognize me, do you? You will soon enough. A chill runs down Sefu's spine. He knows the face, but it is a memory, from his nightmares, a vision from a past he's long buried. The figure steps closer, holding the beads aloft, their glow now bright, almost blinding. These beads are no longer mere trinkets. They hold a power that your ancestors never understood, a power that has been hidden for centuries. Sefu's voice shakes with desperation. What power? Why steal them? What do you want? The figure's smile widens. You should be asking what your village truly wants. Your ancestors made a choice, but they didn't know the cost. The beads were meant to control what was never meant to be controlled. The figure laughs, a sound devoid of warmth. The village believes in the power of the beads, but they are fools. The true power lies in the forgotten stories, the ones buried deep beneath the soil, beneath the roots of the trees. The villagers never cared to listen to what was hidden in the silence. Sefu stands frozen, his mind racing. What are you talking about? What truth do you hold? The figure's eyes glow brighter, their voice filled with an eerie calm. The truth is simple. The power of Balozi was never in the beads. It was always in the land, in the forgotten promises made long before your people arrived. Suddenly the ground begins to shake. The trees around them groan and bend, twisting unnaturally. Sefu stumbles, trying to steady himself, but the force is overwhelming. The figure raises their hands, and the tremors intensify. Do you feel it? The figure whispers, their voice now a sharp hiss. The land remembers. It always remembers. Sefu's heart races, his legs trembling beneath him. The world around him seems to tear apart as the air thickens with a strange, unnatural power. The ground beneath Sefu cracks open, and the figure vanishes into the shadows, their laughter lingering in the air. You cannot stop what has already begun, the voice calls out from the darkness. This is only the beginning. The history of Balozi will be rewritten. The past will be claimed and the beads will never return. Sefu stares at the empty space, his mind reeling. He knows this theft is no ordinary crime. This is a battle for something much deeper, a fight to control the very history of his people. Determined, Sefu turns and begins to run. His heart beats with a fierce resolve. The stolen beads are not just the beginning. They are the key to unlocking a hidden truth that could destroy everything he knows. He does not know where this path will lead, but he will follow it. The chase has begun, and Sefu knows that what lies ahead will test more than his strength. It will test the very soul of the village, and perhaps his own. Sefu stands still, his gaze fixed on the empty air where the beads once rested. The absence of their familiar weight in his hands leaves him hollow, and the quiet of the sacred grove feels suffocating. Suddenly the figure steps forward, moving like a shadow cast from the past. Their cloak brushes against the air, and the beads, now glowing faintly, swing from their hands. "You believe these beads hold power?" The figure's voice cuts through the silence, sharp as a spear. "But they were never meant to be revered. They are not what you think they are." Sefu's pulse quickens. The air feels thick, charged with something ancient and dangerous. "What do you mean?" "These beads are everything to Balozi. They are the village's soul." The figure smirks, their eyes darkening with something deeper than anger, something older, forgotten. "Then you have been blinded. The truth is far more terrible than you can imagine." A thunderclap breaks the tension, and the figure's voice rises with the storm. "The elders' rituals, the traditions you follow, even your ancestors' sacrifices, it's all built on a lie. The beads were never the source of your strength. They are mere symbols, tools of manipulation." Sefu stumbles backward, as though struck by the force of the words. "No, it can't be," he gasps. "The beads, our ancestors." The figure steps closer, their presence overwhelming. "Your ancestors were tricked. They sought power they could never understand, power that should never have been harnessed. The truth lies in the forgotten history of this land. The beads were stolen from something darker, something that could destroy you all." The wind howls as the sky darkens, and Sefu's thoughts whirl. Everything he believed, everything he fought for, could it all be built on lies? The figure's voice turns cold, their eyes piercing through him like a blade. "Now you must choose. Accept the forbidden power of your past and risk breaking the fragile peace of Balozi, or hold on to the lies and preserve the village's fragile existence. Your decision will determine the future of your people." Sefu stands frozen at the weight of the figure's words sinking deep into his bones. He is caught between a past that he cannot deny and a future that may never come to pass if the truth is revealed. "You ask for a choice that no one should ever have to make." Sefu finally speaks, his voice heavy with grief. "But I cannot let Balozi fall. I will protect the village, no matter the cost." The figure laughs, a hollow sound. "Then you have already made your choice, haven't you?" As Sefu turns to leave, a familiar voice calls from behind. He spins, startled. His closest friend steps forward, their face twisted with an expression Sefu has never seen before. "I cannot let you do this," they say, their voice laced with hidden rage. "I have waited too long for this moment. You have no idea what the beads are capable of. They are mine to control, not yours." Sefu's heart races. "You? But why?" His friend steps closer, the darkness in their eyes now visible. "I've watched you all these years. You believed in the lies just like everyone else. But I know better. I will harness their power, and I will reshape Balozi. No more gods, no more ancestors to guide us. Only true power." Sefu's world tilts. The betrayal cuts deeper than anything the mysterious figure could have done. Someone he trusted, someone he thought he knew, has been waiting for this chance all along. The storm rages as Sefu and his betrayer face off, each one standing firm in their beliefs. Lightning crackles in the sky, casting flickering shadows over their figures. "You're a fool," his friend sneers. "You still don't understand. The beads can save Balozi or they can destroy it, but I will not let you stand in my way." Sefu's anger flares. "You think you can control them? You think the beads will bow to your will?" The words hang in the air like a challenge. The two clash, their movements quick and violent, fueled by years of friendship, turned bitter. The storm roars around them as though the heavens themselves are torn between their battle. In the heat of the moment, Sefu realizes the truth. His friend's hunger for power will lead them both into destruction. He must act quickly. He reaches for the beads, but his friend is faster, yanking them away with a triumphant grin. "It's too late now," they hiss. The storm begins to subside, the furious winds dying down. Sefu stands, breathless, as the rain falls softly around him. His friend stares at him, beads in hand, waiting for Sefu to make his final decision. "I cannot let you take this," Sefu says, his voice steady. "The beads are not for us to control. They were never meant for one person to wield. If you take them, you will destroy everything. The village, the people, everything we've worked for will crumble under your hand." His friend hesitates, their expression faltering for a moment. But the hunger in their eyes is still there, unrelenting. "Then you leave me no choice," they whisper. Sefu steps forward, and in a swift motion he knocks the beads from their hands. The power surges through him, and for a moment he feels the weight of the village's past, its hopes and fears in his grip. "I choose Balozi," Sefu declares. "I will protect its future, even if it means letting go of the past." The beads fall to the ground, their glow fading as the storm finally breaks, the air clearing. But the damage has been done. The future of Balozi has been sealed, and Sefu knows that the village can never return to what it once was. The choice has been made. The village's fate rests in the balance, and only time will reveal whether the truth will heal or destroy them all. The villagers stand apart, groups scattered like broken stones in the path. Some cling to the old ways, their voices loud, their hands raised in defiance. They speak of ancestors, rituals, and the power of the beads. To them, nothing has changed, only the fear of losing what they've always known. On the other side, others stand silent, the weight of new truths hanging over them like the thickening clouds of a coming storm. They have seen the lies, felt the shock of revelation. They know the beads were never what they thought, that the elders' teachings were born from deception. Sefu watches them all, his heart heavy. The once unified community now fractures under the strain of truth. His people have always lived by the beads, their strength drawn from their power. But now the beads' meaning is shattered. The village is divided, and Sefu knows there is no turning back. Sefu steps forward, the weight of his decision pressing against him. His people look to him for guidance, but what can he offer them? The truth has already broken them. He speaks to the ones who still believe, urging them to see beyond the fear. "The beads were never meant to define us," he says, his voice strong but filled with sorrow. "It is not the beads that give us power, but the strength in our hearts, the bond between us. We must not allow lies to tear us apart." But the elders are not moved. "The beads are sacred," they shout. "You cannot turn your back on them. You cannot rewrite history." Sefu turns to the others, the ones who already see the new path. They nod, understanding the shift that must come. "We will rebuild," he says, "together, with truth. But it will take time. It will take patience." The rift is not healed yet, but Sefu knows this is the first step. Sefu walks alone to the sacred grove, the place where the beads were once kept. The trees whisper secrets of a past that now feels foreign. He stands before the altar, the ground, beneath him heavy with history. The beads are no longer the same. Their power has changed, but the ritual remains. With steady hands, Sefu places the beads on the stone, not as an offering, but as a reminder of what was and what must now be. Ifehi raises his arms, his voice calling out to the ancestors. "We honor you," he says, "but we also honor ourselves. We are not bound by the past. We will carry your lessons forward, but we will no longer let them hold us back. The wind shifts as if answering him, the air thick with both sorrow and hope. Sefu's words echo in the grove, a prayer for both the old and the new. The beads are returned to their rightful place, but their power is no longer what it once was. They rest now, not as a source of strength, but as a symbol of the past and the future of what was and what must come. The villagers gather around, watching Sefu as he holds the beads in his hands. He does not feel the weight he once did, but he knows their significance. They are no longer just a tool to be used. They are reminders of the journey the village has taken, of the lies uncovered, and of the future they must shape. The beads will not save us, Sefu says, holding them high for all to see. We are the ones who must save ourselves. The power is within us, in our unity, in our willingness to change. The villagers nod, some still unsure, others filled with a newfound resolve. The beads now serve as a lesson, a symbol of their ability to adapt and grow. The storm has passed, and the sun breaks through the clouds, casting light over the village of Balozi. The air is still, heavy with the weight of the decision that has been made. Sefu stands at the center, looking out at his people. They are changed, their hearts heavy with the knowledge of their past, but also with the hope for their future. The village will survive, but it will never be the same. The old ways are gone, but the lessons they hold will remain. Sefu knows that the future of Balozi lies in his hands now. He has led them through the storm, but the true test lies ahead. Can they rebuild? Can they thrive in a world that is no longer defined by the beads? With the truth laid bare, Sefu looks ahead. The path is uncertain, but he knows one thing for sure. Balozi's future will be shaped not by the lies of the past, but by the wisdom they have gained through the storm. The choice has been made. The village will move forward with the truth in their hearts and the strength to face whatever comes next. Sefu stands still, the weight of his choices pressing heavily upon him. He thinks of the beads, once believed to hold the power of his people, but now reduced to a symbol. They were never the source of their strength. No, it was always their choices, the paths they chose, that shaped them. The beads had been a crutch, an illusion, a story passed down through generations. The true power was within their hearts, their decisions. Now Sefu understands this. His people must choose, and they must do so with wisdom. The truth he uncovered had shattered what they thought they knew, but it had also given them the chance to rebuild. It was no longer about the beads or the past. It was about what they would do with the knowledge they now had. What would they choose? What would he choose? Sefu's mind drifts back to the betrayal, the one he never saw coming. It was someone close, someone he trusted. Their hunger for power had clouded their judgment, and in their grasp for control, they had torn at the fabric of everything Sefu had fought for. Power, he now knows, is not a gift. It is a burden that demands wisdom and integrity, not just the strength to command. He had thought leadership was about authority, about being strong in the face of adversity. But now he sees the truth. To lead is to serve, to protect, to make hard choices even when they threaten everything. You hold dear. His trust had been shattered, but he learned the price of his own decisions. The consequences would follow him, but he would not shy from them. He had to remain steady. To lead with wisdom, he had to be clear of heart, free from the temptations of power. The village is at a crossroads, torn between the pull of the past and the pressure of the future. Sefu watches them, the old and the young, the believers in tradition, and the ones who see a different path. Can Balozi evolve without losing its soul? Can they let go of the past without erasing everything that made them who they are. Sefu looks around at his people, at the way their eyes search for answers, for certainty. They are not ready to let go of the old ways, and perhaps they never will be. But the world outside their borders is changing, and Balozi must decide whether to stand firm or move forward. He feels the weight of the decision. It is not just his future he holds in his hands, it is theirs. Can they embrace the new without forsaking what made them strong? Or will tradition remain their chain, holding them in the past as the world moves forward? Sefu sits in quiet reflection, the beads before him. They are not what they once were, but neither are they nothing. He picks them up, feeling their smooth surface, remembering the power they once symbolized. The beads are both the past and the future. They are a reminder of what they once believed, of what was once sacred. But now they are a symbol of change, of the new path Balozi must walk. The beads represent the choices they will make, the lessons they will carry forward. They are not the source of power, they never were. The power lies in the choices that follow. The beads will no longer dictate the future of the village. The people will. As the sun sets over the village, Sefu surveys the land. The village is changing, and so are its people. The storm has passed, but the air is still thick with uncertainty. The future of Balozi is unclear, but Sefu knows one thing. Their survival depends on unity. The community must come together, despite their differences. They must face the unknown hand in hand because the future is unwritten. The beads may have held their fate in the past, but now the future belongs to them, to their choices, to their strength. Sefu looks ahead, the weight of leadership still heavy on his shoulders, but now there is hope. Hope that Balozi will find its way, that the village will rise from the ashes of the past, stronger and wiser. It will not be easy, but Sefu knows they can do it. The lessons from the past will guide them forward. The future of Balozi is in their hands. It is not defined by beads, by old beliefs, or by betrayal. It is defined by the choices they make together.